Part 2. Jacob and the other chosen ones have just learned what their destiny is, to destroy the Dark Lord. Are they up for the challenge, though? To complete their quest, they must learn to trust in themselves and each other, or this quest may take a fatal turn. Absolutely love the book. I just kind of like it a lot. You be knowing what I mean. Kevin Love. It is a good book, I think. I haven't read it yet. Bill Clinton. Chapter 1. "You're coming with us," said one of the Black Knights that had just pulled up to the cart. Matt put his hand on the hilt of his sword and said, "Oh, really? Where to?" The Black Knight unsheathed his sword. "That won't matter to you." The driver then turned around and exclaimed, "We're not going anywhere, and I suggest that you be off to wherever you came from, unless, of course, you have any interest in giving a ride to some simple farmers on their way to Maverick." The Black Knight laughed and then said, "I think you are leaving out quite a bit of what you're doing." Jacob noticed the driver getting a little tense. "I don't know what I'm leaving out. Our donkey is tired and we would like to get there by Wednesday." Of course...
Canadian.
Of course, we would have to bring our donkey with us. We couldn't just abandon it. Jacob thought the driver was doing well, but the Black Knight wasn't giving. The Black Knights drew their swords. "We have captured your little party of officers and know that you are the Princess of Centralia." The Black Knight pointed his sword at Jessica. "And don't worry, the officers will be taken care of after we get all the information we need, and those bounty hunters have already been executed. If you don't come peacefully, we will be forced to make this slightly ugly." Everyone gasped at the news. Matt pulled out his sword and said, "Then let's make this ugly! You're going down!" Matt started running towards the Black Knights, but the driver pulled him back. "All right, we will come peacefully." The driver hopped down from the car, and in a fast movement slapped the donkey and sent the cart flying down the road. Jacob was launched to the back of the cart. Jacob turned to see the driver and one of the Black Knights in a sword fight. The other two got on their horses and started towards the cart. The donkey stopped, and Jacob ran to the front, flicked the reins, and started the cart again. "Jacob, we need to get off the road! The Black Knights are too fast for us!" Jacob stopped the cart, and 3 of them climbed off, and Matt hit the donkey, trying to imitate the driver. Then they all ran behind a nearby bush and waited. Off in the distance, they could hear hooves coming and the unmistakable sound of the driver finally falling to one of the Black Knights. Finally, the 2 Black Knights came rushing by, not making any indication that they noticed them behind the bush. After the 3rd knight rode by, they finally spoke. "We need to get out of here before the Black Knights find out that we're not in the cart and come looking for us," said Matt.
"We can't just leave the driver there!"
exclaimed Jessica. There's no way the Black Knights let him live. Let's just get away while we can," Jacob pointed out.
"Fine, but where should we go? We can't follow the road. There are too many trees over there. We'll be caught," said
Jessica. There's some trees on the other side of the road. If we can get across without being caught, we can follow the road by the cover of the trees," said Matt. The others agreed, and after making sure that no horses were coming, ran across the road and started out. After a few hours, they had still not seen any sign of the Black Knights, and their legs were tired.
"Can we stop for camp here?"
asked Jessica. "Sure!" Matt assigned Jacob to watch the camp spot while Jessica and he went to get firewood. Matt obviously had a crush on Jessica. After about half an hour, Matt and Jessica came back with an armload each of firewood. Jacob's dad had taught Jacob how to light a fire before he sold him, but Matt insisted he make the fire, of course to impress Jessica. But Jacob guessed it wasn't doing much since Jessica wasn't looking, and the wind kept blowing out Matt's fire, which caused for some blowouts. "Why wouldn't you just light? I'm the king of fire! I can light a fire better than anyone in my family! Come on now! No! Don't go out! No, why?"
"Matt, please be more quiet. People can hear us. We're not too far from the road,"
said Jessica. "Ow! Sorry." Eventually, Matt managed to build a fire, and they slept on until they were awakened to the sound of hooves on the road. Jacob shook everyone awake. "Guys, shh! There's someone over there," whispered Jacob.
"Should we hide?" asked
Jessica. "Let's see who it is first," advised Matt. Chapter 2. The 3 of them were hiding behind a tree and watched. It's a farmer's cart! Hey, over here!" yelled Matt. The cart stopped and a farmer got out. What you kids be doing out here?" Jacob stretched his back and said, "We're farmers headed to Maverick for the annual Farmers Fest." Hey, you kids got a license?" The driver had given them each a farmer's license before starting on their journey. They each pulled out their licenses. That's authentic, sonnies. Guess you be coming to help out your sick daddy or something. How you been end up out here if you ain't mind me asking?" The three of them looked at each other, and then Jacob spoke. A man on a horse mugged us a few miles back." That wasn't a complete lie. "Right, I suppose I could take you to Maverick since I'd be going to the same place. Hop on." After a flood of thank yous, the three of them climbed into the cart and started off. The cart was cramped and especially uncomfortable, and Jacob had to dodge a couple boxes to avoid being smashed as the cart hit a bump on the road. Suddenly the farmer spoke. "I ain't recall ever telling you young folks my name. I be Gary Harper. You folks can call me Gary if you like. Of course, I be having other folks call me Mr. Harper, but for you folks, I'll make an exception."
It was very kind of you to give us a ride, Gary,
said Jessica. "It ain't nothing, miss. It would be a shame to let you kids go off wandering along the countryside all alone." "So, where you folks be from?" Matt was fast to answer. "Tossism. We're from Tossism." "Oh, I know where that be. Me grandmother lived there for a time, I be from SoCal. Not far as Tossism, I think. Never been good at me geography." Then the conversation ended. It was mainly small talk and seemingly endless hours of traveling across flat farmlands the whole way there. Although there was occasionally a farmhouse or two as they went, there weren't any organized towns till they got to Maverick. About a day before they got to Maverick, they could make out the hazy water of Lake Maverick. A big mist started rising as they got near. Eventually the mist turned into fog, and it felt, to Jacob, like he was filling his lungs with water. Finally, after about a day of riding by the lake, they reached Maverick. Maverick was just about as busy as Baggins, but the streets weren't as clean and neat. Although Gary assured the city would look a lot better in the north side of town, Jacob wasn't quite convinced this was a very safe city and was glad they had Gary with them. Off to the south side, Jacob could see the most north of the Nagastan Highlands, and Jacob was glad Maverick had something different than flat farmlands on both sides, like most towns Jacob had been to. As the cart started through the city, they passed a guy who with one hand was holding a beer bottle and in the other a stick, which he was biting on. This man started jumping around and knocking people down. Then they saw a couple of officers tackle him and put him in handcuffs. "Hey, don't worry, folks. Once we be getting farther up north, we'll see more folks with sanity," assured Gary. After an hour, they reached a wide building made of brick. Surrounding the building were hundreds of tables and boxes where farmers were prepping for the big day tomorrow. Gary halted the donkey and turned his attention to the passengers. "Let's go buy a plot." All three hopped off the cart and started towards the building. Out of the corner of Jacob's eye, he saw three black knights talking to a man dressed in nice clothing. "Guys, look!" Jacob urged for Matt and Jessica to look. "Oh no! Gary, we need to get out of here!" said Matt. "Why, it ain't that busy. Ain't no why you'd want to give up already unless you be selling me cart and all. Now that I think about it, how you gonna to make any money if you ain't got nothing to be selling?"
"No, Gary, those are guys who mugged us!"
exclaimed Jessica. Where? That'd be good. We can get your stuff back." "Those guys are dangerous! We need to run!" urged Matt. Suddenly, Jacob felt two strong hands pull him back. All at once, he had a bag over his head and felt something get shoved under his nose. He blacked out. Chapter 3. When Jacob awoke, he was in a dark room and tied up to Gary, Matt, and Jessica. Jacob wondered if anyone saw them get kidnapped. They were in plain sight. Jacob wondered how no one could have seen the kidnappers get them. Suddenly, the door flung open and two black knights stepped in. Jessica, Matt, and Gary awoke. After everyone's eyes had adjusted to light, one of the black knights spoke. "You four will need to answer some questions. Notice how I said answer, not ask. If you don't speak when asked, lie, or talk out of place, you'll be sorry." Then the two black knights stepped back, letting a tall man in a black cloak come in. He gestured to the knights to close the doors. Darkness filled the room. Then the man in the cloak snapped his fingers and the room was filled with dim red light from the walls. The room was made out of some sort of red stone with a magical haze coming from it. "You four are attempting to overthrow the Dark Lord, and you will not succeed." Gary looked shocked. It was widely believed that the Dark Lord was just a myth, or was put to extinction over 500 years ago by the great wizards of old. The man in the cloak continued. "As you probably know, you are the three chosen ones. No, not you, old farmer. The kids. It was a relief to you that Zemetis found you before I did. But those who possess dark always get what they want. As did I, Apprentice Haven. Yes, I'm apprentice to the Dark Lord. Now answer my question. Where is Zemetis?" Suddenly Jacob's pocket felt warm, as did Jessica's and Matt's. They each pulled out their coins, which were glowing. "What is this? Stop this!" The two black knights came rushing towards them, but Jessica and Matt's coins shot out a blast of light that shot the two black knights back into the wall. Then Jacob's coin shot a blast of light toward Apprentice Haven, but he shot back a burst of black and purple from his hand, which hit Jacob's light stream. The two forces pushed against each other until it exploded, sending Jacob and Apprentice Haven flying into a wall. Ropes and pieces, the four ran to the door, opened it, and ran down a cobblestone passageway dotted with torches. Finally, they reached a dead end. Haven was fast to catch up. "You will regret that!" Haven started forming a ball of darkness when the wall behind them opened, and Zemetis and 6 officers walked through. Zemetis formed a ball of blue magic and shot it right at Haven's chest, knocking him to the ground. Then Zemetis pulled out a sword of diamond with gold hilt and charged at Haven with the officers not far behind. Haven got up, pulled out a black sword, and deflected Zemetis' blow. Then Haven went low. Zemetis blocked the blow and stabbed for a counterattack, but Haven ducked under it and went for his hip. Zemetis dodged it and swung up high, which Haven barely blocked. Then the officers pulled out their swords, and all went on him at once. Haven managed to survive a round of swings, but now had blood gushing from his thigh. He sheathed his sword and created a ball of dark magic, which he threw on the ground, making everyone fall on their backs. After he chanted a few words, Haven jumped into a newly formed portal on the ground. The portal disappeared, and so did Haven. The two black knights came staggering in, but after a flash of blue magic from Zemetis, the black knights dissolved into black ashes. Zemetis turned to the four, standing in shock. "How was your trip?" Chapter 4. After the 3 kids told Zemetis about what happened to them, which Zemetis took great interest in, especially how they were able to escape the Black Knights, which had attacked Zemetis' group of men after he left to get the rest of his soldiers. Gary finally spoke the first time since Zemetis came. So you kids are the chosen ones. Well, I knew there was something different about you folk. Eventful day for me, eh?" Zemetis turned his attention to Gary. "You know too much. I'm going to leave it to you if you want to just forget this whole thing or help these kids. It doesn't seem quite fair to have these kids bring you into this and you didn't even know it." "I'm a bit into gossip, and I ain't too good at keeping secrets. I got no family living with me, so I ain't think no one else be too sad. Plus, I ain't ready to retire yet. I'll join y'all." They all cheered. "All right, thank you, Gary. Now, for how and why I came here. The Anti-Dark Rebellion has many resources, and I was able to track down the Red Gem Guardian. The Gem Guardians are a family line that was assigned to watch over the gems at all costs and times. The Gem Guardians take the job seriously and would rather die than let anyone take their gem, good or evil, light or dark, it doesn't matter. They are strong wielders of magic and control his or her own layer with a complete equal mixture of light and dark magic, so they don't prefer either side. No Gem Guardian will ever go too far from the gem they are assigned to, but they prefer to be very close to it because that is what gives them power. Anyway, this particular Gem Guardian is a he, and he lives deep under the Lake Maverick in the center of a big rock. We managed to get it, but found the Guardian unconscious and the lair in ruin." Everyone gasped. Zemetis went on. "We could not find the gem. However, we were able to get back the Gem Guardian and found out some sort of dark beast stormed in, and he was no match. I couldn't find out any more about it because the Gem Guardian no longer had any will to live and was talking gibberish. I didn't see any good in keeping him against his will, and am well aware of the Gem Guardian's desire to keep his gem safe, so I let him go on his way. We were able to track whoever took it here, and that brings us to the present time." What do you think the creature was?" asked Matt. "I don't know, but Gem Guardians are one of the most powerful wielders of magic on Earth, so this creature would have to be powerful," explained Zemetis. "Where's the gem now?" asked Jacob. "Ah, good question. We all need to search the lair and find the red gem, except for Jessica," said Zemetis.
"Why can't I look? Is it because I'm a girl?"
snapped Jessica. Zemetis looked taken aback. "Why, no, Jessica. I didn't want to sound disrespectful. I need to talk to you in private." With Jessica satisfied, she nodded her head and everyone started to search. Jacob went with Matt and the officers paired with each other. "It's strange," noted Jacob, "that the coin stopped glowing and I can't start it up again." I noticed that too," agreed Matt. Jacob and Matt were backtracking their steps to a door diagonal to the room they were being held. They opened the door and walked in. "There's no light in here," pointed out Matt. Suddenly their coins lit up and they pulled them out. "Cool," they both said in astonishment. As they walked down a flight of stairs, they could see that in a few yards the narrow corridor they were in turned in from cobblestone to some sort of eerie dark stone, making it look like an endless pit of darkness. "That's creepy," said Matt. Once they reached the dark stone, they felt washed with darkness and despair. They longed to go back up to the comforting light of the corridor, but the coins seemed to be leading them deeper as it got brighter every step they took. Eventually the stairs ended, and they reached a wide room with a low ceiling and the red gem on a pedestal in the middle. They started towards the red gem, which was only just taller than an inch. Behind a pillar, Jacob saw red, evil eyes of something. Like a black hole, the creature sucked the energy out of Jacob fast. Jacob could feel himself losing consciousness. When Matt grabbed him and put his Fallen Quest coin back into his hand, Jacob could feel his energy coming back. So he and Matt, who had the gem in hand, ran from the room and charged up the stairs back into the corridor. Finally, Jacob blacked out.